so many of us joined together today to practice meditation together on World Meditation Today. World Meditation Day. It's a UN designated special day. And if you're not muted, please mute your audio. And I can ask our tech host, Eric, I guess you could probably mute everyone. But great to see everyone. Great to see everyone. I'm going to scroll through the pages here a little bit. If you can turn on your uh, cameras, that would be great so we can see people, get a sense of community here. It's really wonderful to see so many folks. There's already over 700 of us here coming together to meditate together on World Meditation Day, the UN designated holiday, which is on the solstice. And yeah, fabulous, wonderful. Good to see everyone. So we'll get started in just a moment. I just wanted to mention a couple of things. We'll just allow a couple of minutes for everyone to arrive. There's more people arriving. We're climbing up towards 800. So we have another event coming up, a neurosomatic mindfulness retreat that is on December 28th. And so that's a nice thing to do during a break between Christmas and New Year's. A lot of us have time there. So it'll be a 6-hour retreat. It'll go from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then there'll be an hour break for a meal break. And then it'll go from 2 to 5 p.m. So this allows us to do a really, really deep dive into practice of neurosomatic mindfulness. And I'll be guiding us through, the really, really in-depth approaches with it. And that, again, is on the 28th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. with a 1-hour meal break in the middle. And Eric is going to post a link to that in the chat right now. So if you open up your chat, you'll see that Eric from our team has posted a link to that. So you could just link there and bookmark that and go look at it later. We've had kind of a pay what you can pricing structure. We have a very, very low price, another price where you get the recordings, and then a benefactor price for those who can afford more. But anyway, just bookmark that link. We'll post it again towards the end of the workshop today, and I'll mention it again then. I'll also, towards the end, mention we have also another wonderful offer that will come out right after that retreat at the end of the year. We're going to have between the 28th and the 31st a very, very special low discount offer on our 60-day Waking Up Now intensive, which I believe the next cohort kicks off in either mid-January or early February. I apologize for not knowing. But anyway, you all are on our list, so you'll receive things about that anyway, but just to highlight that those are coming. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get into the practice, and there are currently 825 of us here. So again, that's really something to celebrate that we're all here. And I would encourage everybody, let's take a moment. I encourage everybody, just scroll through the screens, and if you can, turn your cameras on and just get a sense of people. And I think I'll do one other thing in the chat. I see some people have already put in, yeah, so if you haven't said hello in the chat yet and where you're from, please do. See, there's folks from Australia and Poland and California, Toronto, Canada, California, Ashland, Oregon, Columbia, South Carolina. So if you haven't yet put in your name, you could say, you don't have to put your name in, it's there, but just say hello and where you're from, where you're zooming in from today. Boston, Nova Scotia, Switzerland, wow. And New Hampshire, California, Vancouver, Lafayette, Colorado, from Finland, wonderful. Gainesville, Florida, Washington, D.C., Ontario, California, Chicago, Edmonton, Canada, Belgium, Alberta, Canada, the Netherlands, wow, Switzerland, more from Switzerland, someone from Wales, that's Lisa from Wales. So this is just wonderful since we really have a global gathering here today. Kansas City, Florida, Oxford, England, Berlin, Germany, Tennessee, Montreal, Canada, Oregon, really quite an internet, Holland, Netherlands, Scotland, quite an international gathering. Hamburg, Germany, Glasgow, Scotland. Wow. California, a lot of folks from California, New Mexico, Texas, UK, Italy. Wow, Italy, wonderful. So, and more from the Netherlands, Oslo, Norway, Luxembourg, um, Savannah, Georgia, Cambridge, England. Uh, and wow, just really, I'm not going to go through all, I'm not going to try to name all 800 or so of us, but it's just wonderful. And I encourage people to scroll through the screens a little bit, smile at each other, wave at each other, say hello, and just greet each other and get a sense that we're all connecting here on World Meditation Day. So great. That's absolutely wonderful and really inspiring. And we are up to 867 now. Okay. So I think I've scrolled through there's a lot of screens here. Wow, we're up to 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 35 screens. Wow, wow, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. But let me scroll back the other way quickly and then we'll get started. Yeah, very inspiring to see everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. We're going to be practicing neurosomatic mindfulness. If you're not already familiar with it, this is a deeply embodied and trauma-informed approach to classic mindfulness awareness meditation that makes the practice a lot easier to do, really accelerates our ability to stabilize our attention, which is the portal into deeper states of awareness and deep states of flow. And it accelerates the path into both healing and awakening. And we're going to be focused very much on feeling the body, the sensate experience, the actual tactile sensate experience of the body. So, depending on your own relationship to the body, and if you find any areas of the body, triggering to explore, please feel completely empowered that if anything gets too uncomfortable for you, to kind of lean away from that, either shift to another focus on another part of the body or shift your focus outside of the body. Open your eyes, shift your focus to an object in a room or something. But take care of yourself. Do what works for you. Also, in terms of posture, I encourage us to sit with a relatively upright, uplifted posture. But if for any reason of physical limitations, you need to do the practice lying down or standing up or leaning against the back of a chair for support, please do what works for you. Okay, so I just want to be really empowered to take care of yourselves, okay, and make this work for you. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started here. And again, Eric posted that link in the chat, and we'll post it again towards the end. And since you all are on our list, you'll all be receiving notifications about this anyway. But again, that 6 hour or all day retreat will be on no December 28th. Okay, we'll get started now. So I encourage us to take a moment to establish a posture, a good posture that for you feels relatively upright, uplifted, awake, dignified, and at the same time relaxed, stable, sustainable. You may wish to shift your head back just a millimeter or so the head is really sitting squarely over the shoulders and over the spine. And maybe tucking the chin just ever so slightly, just getting good spinal alignment. And then I invite you to close your eyes. This practice can be done with the eyes open, but it's really helpful to learn it with the eyes closed because we're going to be focusing on feeling sensation. So if that's comfortable for you, please close your eyes, or you could at very least lower your gaze, look down about a 45-degree angle, and that way um, you'll reduce the amount of visual input or potential visual distraction. And I invite us to begin feeling the body. And by body, I mean the landscape of actual tactile physical sensations that we can actually feel from head to toe, inside and out. Very often, our attention is up in the head area because we're very visually and auditorily oriented, and we tend to have very busy minds. So you can just let your attention drop down through the neck and through the shoulders and upper back, upper chest, down through the torso, down through the waist, down through the hips and buttocks, down through the lower legs and knees, upper legs, knees, lower legs, and all the way down to the feet and the soles of the feet. And really feeling ourselves sitting on the earth. We may be sitting in a chair or a cushion, but ultimately through the foundation of the building we're in, we're connected to the earth. So feeling the vastness of the heaven principle or cosmos above with our uplifted posture and then the solidity of the earth below. And in some ways, we're connecting those energies. In fact, in various Asian traditions, the role of our role as human beings is to join heaven and earth, to join those principles, those energies together as upright beings. And for a moment, I invite us to just drop into being, just allowing yourself to be just as you are in this moment, just being. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, nothing to prove, nothing to compare or evaluate, just being, just being. We're so used to doing we kind of have to relearn how to just be. And we're just going to let thoughts come and go however they do, because it's counterproductive to struggle with your thoughts or try to stop the thoughts. We're not doing that at all. Just let your cognitive mind be as it is. And we're going to focus on feeling sensation. This is really the key here, because when we feel tactile physical sensation directly, this activates a neural network in the brain, the task positive network, that has a mutually inhibitory or antagonistic relationship with the default mode network, which is responsible for the busy mind, the discursive mind. So we'll find our mind quieting quite naturally by focusing on feeling. So taking a moment to just sit and let ourselves be as we are and feel whatever we can feel. Being and feeling, feeling and being. Being and feeling, feeling and being. Feeling and being, being and feeling. So having begun by landing in our body, in the sensate experience we call body, and relaxing into beingness, we're now going to explore specific areas of sensate experience with the body. And we're going to begin with the external landscape, the external landscape of tactile physical sensation on the surface of the skin from head to toe. Now, just to point out for a moment, because it's helpful to understand kind of what's going on neurophysiologically. Sensations on the surface of the skin travel through a particular set of neural networks to the brain that is highly myelinated, the coating on nerve endings, dendrites, and neurons, which makes them communicate very efficiently, and thus we're very sensitive to touch on the skin. All the internal sensations, which we'll be exploring in a moment, travel through a different set of neural networks that are less myelinated, and so internal sensations are subtler, but very much experiential. However, we're going to begin with external sensation. And when I say sensation, I'm talking about the actual micro sensations we can directly feel, the tingling sensations, the pins and needles, the prickly sensations, sensations of pressure or warmth or coolness. So perhaps you might, to begin with, bring your attention to the sensations arising at the contact points between your body and the chair or the cushion, your feet and the ground. The actual micro sensations you can feel at those contact points. We could also bring our attention to the sensations, the tactile physical sensations arising at the contact between our skin and our clothing, the weight of our clothing, the texture of our clothing. And again, we're making a gentle effort to feel the actual micro sensations directly. Our brain needs to continually economize its energy because it's basically filtering out trillions of bits of data continually to give us a narrow bandwidth of reality that we need to experience to get our needs met. And one of the ways it economizes its energy is it very quickly replaces direct experience with concept. So we're out walking down the sidewalk, we notice a tree. Do we really see the tree, really connect with the living entity of tree? Or does the brain quickly replace that with an archetypal image of tree or perhaps oak tree or elm tree? So that's the way the brain works. So your brain will just go, oh, the breath, oh, sensation, oh, my back. So we're making a gentle effort here to penetrate through this conceptual layer to the actual micro sensations we can feel directly. So again, the sensations arising with the contact between our clothing and our skin, as well sensations arising at the contact between exposed skin surface areas like the face, neck, hands, wrists, and the air temperature where we are or any movement of the air where we are. And also the sensations arising with the passage of air across the nostrils, the surface of the skin at the nostrils and or parted lips with each in-breath and out-breath. Now, there is a mindfulness training practice where we really focus on those sensations with the air moving across the surface of the skin at the nostrils in and out. We try to stay right with it. But you'll notice very quickly the brain will just go, oh, in breath, out breath, or sensation. So we're trying to not get caught in that concept.
Hey everyone, I just heard from Fleet. He has lost internet. We are working to get it back. So hopefully we'll be back soon. Thank you.
It'll keep. So I apologize for that, but we lost power at my house. Very poor timing. And I'm using my phone now, so it looks like that's working. So we'll continue with the practice. Continue with the practice. So again, we're scanning all looks of the skin from head to and sort of connecting the dots on all these tactile physical sensations, the actual micro sensations we can feel all across the surface of the skin from head to toe, top and bottom, sides and front, and back, which is one vast sensory organ, our human skin. And we begin to feel enveloped in a field of tactile physical sensation, which is the boundary between our body and the space surrounding us. So feeling that field of sensation surrounding us on the surface of the skin from head to toe, back, sides, and front. We generally assume the space surrounding us to be empty. We usually regard ourselves as objects, and there's other objects out there, and there's space in between which is empty, but it's actually not empty. We know it's made of gases, but it's also an electromagnetic field. So it's not empty at all. And we have a electromagnetic field called the biofield extending out from the body 6 feet. I'm going to leave my video off for now and we'll continue the guidance by audio. Perhaps this will work. So again, we're feeling ourselves enveloped in tactile physical sensation from head to toe. And the energy of that biofield is strongest closest to the skin. So we can actually begin to feel that. We can feel ourselves surrounded by that energetic field and relate that with sensation, tactile physical sensation that we feel on the surface of the skin. And by, with our awareness and our attention, weaving together this womb-like structure of sensate experience on the surface of the skin, as well as our perception of that bioenergetic field surrounding us, can feel embraced and nurtured within that. In the same way an infant is embraced by their mother or father, we can feel ourselves in space. And I invite us to regard this space as benevolent, the energy of life, of energy situated in a larger matrix of energy. So feeling all that. And within that embrace, we can then begin to explore the internal landscape of sensate experience. So I invite us now to focus our attention on exploring the internal landscape of tactile physical sensation. So this includes the overall weight and mass of the muscles and bones, just the weightiness of the body, the force of gravity holding us down on the earth. It includes all the sensations arising and falling away with each in-breath and out-breath. So you have the contraction and relaxation of the diaphragm muscle driving the breath. You also have activity of the abdominal muscles, the oblique muscles, and the costal muscles between the ribs as the rib cage opens and closes with each breath. So there's this entire tactile physical sensate flow as the air flows in and out of the body with this natural wave-like motion. So really tuning in. I invite us to make a gentle effort to continually tuning into feeling sensation. This is what will quiet the mind naturally. And we don't need to struggle with the cognitive mind. It will quiet down naturally because we're focused on feelings and this entire somatic landscape, internal somatic landscape is I'm not on video. So we can break through that conceptual layer and experience sensation directly. And the more we do that, it will eventually hold our attention because it's more compelling and more vivid and more direct and more real than the conceptual mind or our discursive thinking. My first meditation teacher, the Tibetan meditation master Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, made a distinction between the psychosomatic body, which is that conceptual overlay, and what he called body, the direct tactile physical sensation. And we can explore that throughout the body. The entire body is a living organism, all sensory, all containing neuronal cells connected to the central nervous system. This includes the bones, even the marrow of the bones, the connective tissue, the muscles, the circulatory system, all the organs, the glands. And as the practice deepens, people find they're tuned into particular organs, particular glands, particular energetic centers within the body. I encourage us just to gradually let our awareness expand throughout the body, and layer after layer will reveal itself to us. There is a gentle effort involved, but it's also kind of like just opening the door, and the body will begin to reveal itself at deeper and deeper levels. The focus again is on feeling and being, being and feeling, feeling and being, being and feeling. Continuing to allow this field of actual tactile physical sensation all across the surface of the skin and very importantly within the body become more and more vivid. So it really holds our attention. To access the internal landscape of the body, we're activating our capacity known as interoception, a fancy word for internal perception, which is how we know when we're hungry or tired or thirsty, or it's how we experience pain. But mostly we ignore it when there's no discomfort, much to our own detriment. So here we're really opening to and exploring this interoceptive ability, essentially. I also invite your attention to the fact that all sense perceptions, as well as sight, sound, smell, and taste, as well as thoughts and emotions, all arise across a spectrum from pleasant to neutral to unpleasant. Pleasant to neutral to unpleasant. That's just how they arise. And we're conditioned to pleasant or painful sensations or experiences and seek pleasurable or pleasant ones. And this locks us into a very mechanical way of being. And to awaken, one of the key strategies is to be willing to feel whatever is there in an unbiased way. Pleasant, pleasant, comfortable, not so comfortable, pleasurable, painful. Just commit to ourselves, willing to experience the totality of my embodied experience in order to be fully alive, rather than constantly chasing comfort and living in fear of discomfort. I'm just going to embrace the totality of my embodied experience with openness, curiosity, non-judgment, self-acceptance, self-compassion, and a willingness to feel. That's really the key here. Willingness to feel physically. feeling and being, being and feeling, feeling and being, being and feeling, feeling and being and feeling. As we do the practice, our brain and nervous system, which is essentially a learning machine, is learning how to stabilize attention. So we begin with effortful, intentional self-regulation or effortful mindfulness. But over time, we'll be able to move into auto-regulation because we're training the brain and nervous system how to auto-regulate to attention stabilization. And it'll develop new neural pathways and actually transform our neural architecture such that we have immediate access to and abiding access to attention stabilization, which is then the portal into deep states of awareness and deep states of flow. And it's in the deep states of flow where all the healing occurs, the healing of our nervous system, the healing of past traumas or stuck patterns of dysregulation in the nervous system. And it's also where awakening occurs, because in that deep state of awareness and flow, the insight arises into the nature of mind, which is what ultimately liberates us. So very gently allowing the body to reveal itself at deeper and deeper layers. Feeling on feeling, feeling and being and feeling, being and feeling. And of course, if your mind drifts or you find yourself becoming distracted, come back to the body and drop into deeper and deeper feeling. Now, there are awareness practices for working with all our sense perceptions, and you can work with thought directly. However, these practices are very challenging because the other sense perceptions are a little more ineffable, subtle, and thoughts more subtle still. So the sensate experience of the body, the tactile physical sensations are the most grounding and the key to having an abiding activation of the task positive network, which means the default mode network, the source of our busy mind, starts to go offline naturally. And I've asked to challenge ourselves. How deeply can I feel my own body right now? With what level of detail, vividness, clarity, depth? And did you keep making that gentle effort? Over time, as our nervous system and brain learns to do this and learns to auto-regulate and transforms its neural architecture, this will become effortless, which is very important because to drop into the deepest states of flow, effort can be an obstacle. We have to begin with effort. There's no way around that. But over time, effortlessness is important. And this way, we're transforming our neural architecture such that we can practice effortless awareness, effortless attention stabilization. So we're training our body and mind, breath after breath, heartbeat after heartbeat. physical sensation. Feeling and being and feeling and being and feeling. And we're simply allowing our experience to be as it is each moment. We're not trying to change it at all. Pleasant, neutral, unpleasant. We're just meeting each moment with openness, self-acceptance, self-compassion, and perhaps most importantly, curiosity. Most importantly, deep curiosity, a deep longing to know ourselves, to know our own being as deeply as we can. The Tibetan word for meditation is gom, G-O-M, and that can just mean cushion. So gom den is a sitting cushion, but gom also means familiarization. So it's a process of becoming familiar with every nook and cranny of our entire system, our entire body, mind, heart system. Advanced yogis several thousand years ago discovered most of the anatomy, the internal anatomy of the body without ever dissecting corpses like was done in Western science. They did it through their own introspective awareness. So dropping deeply into the body and just exploring whatever we can feel, feeling the bones. Perhaps take a moment to see if you can actually feel your bones. One place you can tune into the bones is where the rib cage is expanding and contracting and feeling the movement of the ribs against the connective tissue, the intercostal muscles, our skin, our clothing. So see if you can tune into feeling the bones at the rib cage. It can also be helpful to sort of visualize our skeletal structure. We all have images that we've seen in a chiropractor's office or on video. So visualizing our skeletal structure and feeling ourselves supported by that skeletal structure from head to toe. We can also feel the musculature. At rest, our muscles have a stored potential energy. which when we move becomes kinetic energy. But at rest, it's there. In some scientific terms, it's called tonus. There's a subtle vibratory energy. It's a subtle tension, if you will. And you can feel that in the muscles, like a very low, subtle hum. So see if you can feel your muscles, perhaps exploring the muscles in the legs, the calf muscles, in the lower legs, the hamstring in the upper legs. See if we can actually feel the energy in the muscles, the stored potential energy. And of course, we can feel the lungs with the air flowing in and out of the lungs, the whole process of oxygenation. Feel the airflow, feel the flow of energy, life force energy accompanying the breath and flowing throughout the body. We are energetic beings. What we call mind is basically a continual flow of energy and information within ourselves and without, with others in the natural world. So tuning into this energetic field to the sensation of feeling, tactile sensation. And of course, that begins with gross physical sensation, the most obvious physical sensation, and it gets subtler and subtler and becomes what's called subtle body in the Vedic traditions, in the Taoist and other Buddhist and other contemplative traditions, subtle body, and then subtle mind, and the very depth of being, spirit, consciousness, or in Western scientific terms, the quantum field, the unified field. And we can get there through the body. The body is the vehicle. And as we're doing the practice to come to this field of this unified field of our consciousness, of our being, by doing it through the body, we're transforming our neural architecture so we will have more and more abiding access to this deep quality of being, and it'll begin to pervade the rest of our life. So feeling and being, being and feeling, feeling and being, being and feeling. Now invite us for a moment to bring our attention to the heart area and to imagine that we're breathing in and out through the heart and feeling the energy of the heart. The electromagnetic field of the heart can be measured by external instruments about 6 or 8 feet out from the heart. It radiates more energy than any of the body's other nerve plexus or energetic centers, which in the East are called chakras. So just imagine you're breathing in and out through the heart while you're feeling the entire body. The external landscape of sensation feeling held within this energetic space, the vast internal somatic landscape, feeling all that as you breathe in and out through the heart, which will gradually increase heart-brain coherence, feeling and being and feeling, connected to this heart energy, breathing into the heart, out through the heart. And we're breathing out this heart energy to the entire world, and then we're receiving the life force energy of the world and just feeling that flow at our heart center, while at the same time feeling deeply connected to the entire energetic landscape of the body. Feeling and being and feeling and being, and feeling. As we continue working with being, just allowing ourselves to be just as we are and allowing our experience to be just as it is, while at the same time focused on feeling actual tactile physical sensation. Again, the micro sensations that make up our experience, the tingling, the pins and needles, the prickly sensations, the pressure, and so forth. I invite us to gradually expand this quality of breathing in and out through the heart to breathing in and out through all the pores of our skin, from head to toe. And as we breathe in, we're drawing in life force energy from the world, from the natural world, and we're breathing that into all the pores of our skin, to all the body's orifices. We're saturating the body with light and energy, which is actually happening, photon light, drawing that in. And then on the out breath, we just breathe that back out to the universe for the benefit of all beings, expanding good energy out to all beings, out to the entire natural world. So extending this healing force out to all beings and to the earth, to the natural world. And again, on the in-breath, we breathe in this life force energy, which in the East and called prana in Sanskrit or lung in Tibetan, chi in Chinese, ki in Japanese. And it's the biofield energy, it's photons in Western science. So we're breathing it in, breathing it out to our entire body. And with each in-breath, we're feeling our entire body saturated with light, saturated with energy, all the way down to the bones. And our body is becoming lighter and lighter. We could almost start levitating. Our body's becoming so light, saturated with light, saturated with energy. And on the out breath, we always release that and breathe that out to the entire world, breathing out this healing energy, this healing force out to the entire world for the benefit of all beings and the earth itself. So here we are, this matrix of energy in flow with ourselves at the deepest level, and flow with the surrounding matrix of energy, the immediate biofield, and in flow with the entire natural world, and in flow with the cosmos. Breathing in, breathing out, and focused on feeling whatever we can feel. Being and feeling, feeling and being, being and feeling, feeling and being. The more we increase interoceptive awareness, this capacity to feel the body at ever deeper levels, all the internal systems of the body, which all emit energy at different frequencies. Of course, we have our heart waves, the different heart wave frequencies, alpha, beta, delta, gamma, theta. We have our heartbeat. We have the frequency of our breath. But all the organs, the heart, liver, pancreas, kidneys, they all emit energy. The glands emit energy. The pituitary gland, the thalamus, all the glands emit energy. And these waves of energy begin to map onto each other and cohere. And we experience that coherence as a palpable resonance or coherence or flow. So as you breathe in and breathe out, feeling that flow, it's just saturating us all the way down to the bones. And we're in flow with the external world all the way out to the cosmos, breathing in, breathing out, and feeling as deeply as we can. Being and feeling, feeling and being. 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 And in this way, we can really have a direct sense that our practice is not just for our own healing, awakening, but is for the healing and the awakening of all sentient beings, all of life, the earth itself. Feeling and being and feeling. Feeling the flow of energy flowing in and out through every pore of the skin, from head to toe, all the orifices, feeling our body saturated with light with each in-breath. And then letting that area, that light just flow out to the entire world, the healing energy of light. Feeling and being and feeling, being and feeling, feeling and being. And as you sit and relax further and further into this flow, you can let a slight smile come to your lips, which will relax your face. Your lips could be parted slightly, relaxing the jaw. And it's okay to feel bliss, to feel joy, being fully alive and relaxing into this flow of the reality of our energetic being in this energetic world is blissful, it's joyful, it's alive. Being and feeling, feeling and being, feeling and being and feeling. If you all want to open up the chat, I'm going to take questions now. So, again, I appreciate everyone's patience very much. The power has still not come back on at our home, and it's a very nice day outside, so I have no idea why we lost power. But I appreciate your patience. And let's open up the chat and feel free to put any questions in about the practice. And again, I'll ask Eric to put in the link for the uh, Neurosomatic Mindfulness Retreat, which will happen on the 28th of December from 10 a.m. to um, 5 p.m. with 1 hour break in the middle. But now let's see if is there any questions. So people are feeling refreshed. It was amazing. Thank you. Beautiful. And as we move into questions, I encourage you to stay with feeling the body. And I'm going to offer a little micro practice in a moment so we can bring this quality of beingness into our day-to-day life, moment to moment. A way we can learn to and train our body, mind, and nervous system so it does it more automatically. But we can intentionally, continually shift into being with this little micro practice I'll offer. But let's see what questions you have. Any questions? People being so connected. Yeah, there's the link for the retreat. It was like walking on the Milky Way. That's great. By the way, the vastness of our internal neural landscape, there are as many or more neurons in our brain than there are stars in the Milky Way universe. So it's really a vast, this human body we have and our human brain and nervous system, the most complex system in the known universe. It's this vast thing, this precious resource we have to explore and to come to know at deeper and deeper levels. The more deeply we come to know with consciousness our own body, heart, and mind, the more liberated we become, the more healed we are. It's when we're not aware of it, when we don't know it, that we continually get ambushed by strong emotions or external experiences or reactions. But the more we can drop into flow in this way, our nervous system will gradually heal itself. All the old traumas or stuck patterns of dysregulation will release themselves over time. And we'll find ourselves spending more and more of our life in being and flow. So let me again check the chat, see if there are any questions anyone has. Okay, here's a question. How do you connect to the healing energy of the body to heal receding gums that are not infected nor inflamed? Very helpful in this way. So in terms of healing, whether it's receding gums or any part of the body, our body has an innate healing intelligence. This is well known now scientifically. Like even if we get a small cut, right, and it's bleeding and we clean it and put a Band-Aid on it, it'll heal and leave no scar. Right? We have no idea how that happens. Science doesn't really understand that. But it's the inner healing intelligence of the body. So the more we drop into flow, the more we connect with the quantum field, in Western scientific terms, healing happens quite naturally. And people have healed themselves of everything you can imagine. Everything you can imagine. So when you think about the quantum field, which is the invisible underlying, even what we can now measure something called the biofield, the electromagnetic fields, which were not recognized by Western science before, but they are now. And perhaps what's called chi or ki or prana in the East is that, or maybe subtler still. And even below that, in just into the field of potential is the quantum field. And that's the source of all. It's the source of all. So if you can imagine plugging back into source, what's going to happen? Well, it's sort of like rebooting your computer, right? Or, computers run defragmentation programs while they're asleep. We used to have to run those programs on old computers. Now it does it while it's asleep. So you plug back into source. Healing happens naturally. Physical healing, nervous system healing, psychological healing, it all happens. The more time we spend connected to source, Healing happens quite naturally. All right, let me see if there are other questions. How do you begin to introduce these topics to patients with addiction? Well, again, it's just feeling. So one of the things I've struggled with addictions in my life. I spent some time in recovery earlier in my life. And, there's addiction has a craving aspect to it. Craving is a mind state. And we could get into quite detail around that from a Buddhist perspective on mind states. But craving is a mind state. And or craving or the urge. So this is idea of surfing the urge, being willing to and able to be with that feeling of craving, because it's just sensations. That's all it is. But we've developed a reactive pattern to it, and we seek to relieve it by getting into the substance of our choice, right? But if we're willing to feel, then we can completely transform that energy. In Western culture, we've all been enculturated not to feel. Like, don't feel anything. If you feel any pain, take a pill quickly, right? Protect yourself from the natural world, air conditioning and heating, and cover up, and heaven forbid, don't feel anything, right? And it's much to our own detriment. It's all just energy. What we think of as emotions, these powerful emotions that connected with stories and they become like reality, they're neurochemical reactions in the body and the brain and the nervous system. And thoughts trigger electrical impulses, which trigger neurochemical reactions in various parts of the body, which we experience as emotions. We connect them with a story, we believe it, we have more thoughts, and we get stuck in these loops. The same with addiction. So the way out is by being willing to feel whatever is there. And then we can hold our seat, as my first teacher said. We can hold our seat like in dressage, when you ride in that type of riding, you keep your butt in the saddle and you move with the horse. So we can learn to be in the flow of life. And we're not going to get knocked off the horse anymore. Or if we do, we'll get back up very quickly. But basically, we develop this balance and this ability to be with the flow of life, even rather intense experiences. In Dan Siegel's language, we're expanding our window of tolerance, which is the window of human experience we can be with in a relatively relational, well-regulated way. It's not the comfort zone. Ideally, it includes all kinds of discomfort. So we're expanding that, and ultimately we could be with even extremely challenging situations and stay in a well-regulated nervous system, stay in flow, and respond from our best self. So with addictions and all kinds of issues, it really comes down to developing the capacity to feel. If you have muscle and nerve damage from a stroke, can you still get the healing? I absolutely believe you can. And I think there's lots of evidence out there that people have healed just about everything. Now, I don't want to give unnecessary or false hope or promises to people, but basically the body has incredible healing capacities, and it's certainly worth exploring. And it's basically dropping into flow, dropping into flow. The more we can drop into flow where we're just being, and when we can do this with eyes closed, and you could even wear an eye mask sometimes if you like, and we relax into flow deeply enough, we can really drop into deep samadhis where we're really no longer connected to, we're just consciousness, we're just awareness. And when we get to that place, that sets up all kinds of healing possibilities, because every potentiality is there in the quantum field. Everything that could possibly ever be is already there, potentially in the quantum field. And the more time we spend open to that, to whatever degree, the more possibilities can arise in our life for healing, for creating the life we want, for attracting beneficial experiences to ourselves. Yeah. And for me, there are lots of experiences. For example, people can do psychedelics, and you take a pill, and suddenly you're having these profound experiences. That can be wonderful, can provide some insights, but it doesn't last. Once the drug wears off, then your nervous system hasn't really transformed. But with this practice, by taking the body as vehicle, along the way, you're literally transforming your neural architecture So now you have direct neural pathways to these deep states of attention stabilization, which again are the portals to deep states of awareness, deep states of flow, which in the Eastern traditions are called samadhi, which is where all the potentiality is for healing and awakening. Let me check the chat again. The quantum field. Well, that's kind of a lengthy would be a lengthy answer, but let's just call it the source of all. It's not the manifest world. It's the unmanifest, right? So it's not what we think of as the physical world, but it's the source of all that. Everything we experience in this world is manifesting out of the source field, which is called the unified field or the quantum field. And you could just look that up in your various AI engines these days, or Google, or go anywhere and put in quantum field, and you'll get quite a lengthy explanation of it. But this is actual science. This is not pseudoscience. This is not woo-woo. This is actual science. Right? All right, let me see what else we have there. How do you handle acute fear that is not grounded in present um, reality? It's fear of a future event that may or may not happen. Yes, absolutely. So until we start developing greater awareness and awakening and healing, we spend all our time in the imagined past, because the past is gone. It's no longer here. Memories can be in the present, but the past is gone, or in the imagined future. And science used to say that we have about 60,000 thoughts a day. Well, they've changed that. I'm not sure why. I need to dig into that. But now they say it's about 6,500 thoughts a day. Now, I don't know how they define a thought. Maybe it's a particular thought loop or a thought pattern. But anyway, 6,500. And guess what? They're mostly the same thoughts every day. They're mostly the same thoughts every day. And so they're creating the same electromagnetic impulses, which are triggering the same neurochemical reactions, which are creating the same emotions, which are creating the same stories we use to explain our emotions, which then trigger more thoughts, and we're stuck in these loops of the past and the future. And we're continually imagining our future based on the past. We're continually projecting our past experience into the future and then worrying about it and getting anxious about it. So that fear, it's a normal human experience. I'm not being dismissive of anyone's experience here. But that fear we're experiencing is because we're projecting the past onto the future. So the way out of that is dropping into flow, as very gently as we can. And I realize coming home to the body, and I think that's a helpful image here. We're coming home to the body. We're reclaiming the body. And because there can be stuck patterns of dysregulation in the body or past traumas, that may be not the easiest road or may not feel that workable at times. And so we can use Peter Levine's approach of pendulating. Well, we lean in, and if it gets to be too much, we lean back out to somewhere where we feel okay. An external reference point, or perhaps a place in the body that does feel workable to us. And then maybe we lean into the discomfort, we lean out, we lean in and lean. And that way we can gradually, slowly, with gentleness. Gentleness is always the key in practice. Ambition is completely counterproductive. So very gently, we can gradually reclaim our body all the way down to the bones, every organ, all the circulatory system, lymphatic system, the endocrine system, all the glands. We can reclaim the entire body. And in doing so, we reconnect with our heart, we reconnect with the earth, and we reconnect with this deep source. And gradually, we'll find the fear lessening. Like everyone else, I've experienced I had all kinds of addictions young. I grew up in a really wonderful family, but with an alcoholic mother who most of the time actually was this beautiful, wonderful, creative mom. And then once or twice a week, she would get drunk, and it was just her illness. And based on what she'd grown up with in the 40s and 50s or 30s, 40s, and so forth, and the suppression of women at that time. And so she had her demons. And it turned her into a rageaholic. So it was a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing. So that created a lot of psychic splitting in me. I graduated from high school as an angry young man with a big hole in my gut, went full-blown into the counterculture, got seriously involved in addictions, alcohol and drugs, went to prison for 14 years. I experienced all kinds of fear and anxiety in my life. I don't experience that anymore. I also had all kinds of trauma from prison. You can imagine being in a maximum security prison for 14 years. When I got out of prison in 1999, for the first 20 years, every night when I went to sleep, I knew I didn't think about it all the time, so I don't know that I was necessarily creating it. That's an interesting thought. But at any rate, I would have vivid prison dreams almost every night, violent dreams, and dreams that I was supposed to be out of prison, but they weren't letting me out, or I was out and going to get busted and go back forever for life because three strikes and you're out, or I was in prison and violence and I mean it was just technicolor, scary, crazy dreams every night for 20 years. They're gone. They don't happen anymore from doing this work. Right? So it's really just about rediscovering the body's innate healing intelligence. You know, our immune system, which physically keeps us healthy, is an incredibly intelligent system that Western science doesn't even begin to understand yet. They know a lot about it, but they maybe know 5%. I mean, they know the tip of the iceberg. It's this incredible healing phenomena. Right? So this healing intelligence operates at the source level, the energy level, the physical level of our immune system, the cellular level. And these practices also can restore the mitochondria in every cell, which are the engines of life force energy, and increase biophoton energy in every cell in the body. So anytime we tap back into source, we're healing, we're increasing longevity, we're increasing our vitality. And then because we connect with the natural world around us, when we're really connected and embodied, we're also receiving. We're giving and receiving from the natural world altogether, which is a field of energy. Everything we need is right here. My first meditation teacher, Trungpa Rinpoche, used to say we're surrounded by what he called a bank of limitless energy. All the energy we could possibly need is just completely surrounding us. And he had a practice called raising lungta, which is a Tibetan word that basically means life force energy, or raising wind horse, he would call it. And it's just a matter of sort of rousing our energy, lifting our posture up, looking out, expanding the gaze, and we can connect. You know, I've been a fan of Tony Robbins for a long time. I think he's a great trainer, and I just saw him recently. He's more heart connected and more emotionally present than I'd ever seen him, and he's always been that way. But it's quite phenomenal. But he teaches a simple thing like this. You know, your breastbone right here, let it collapse for a moment. Just got to let yourself collapse. Okay? And now lift it up. You feel that shift in energy? Let yourself collapse. And then gradually lift it up. Let your gaze go out, breathe, and you're uplifting your own energy. And we can tune into this vast energetic field that we're part of. Limitless energy for healing and awakening and being, giving, abundance. We all live in abundance. We've learned to experience scarcity, but reality is abundance. Let's see if there are any other questions I can answer here in chat. With so much environmental degradation and the impact of, it seems the body is probably it's the only body that's probably using so much energy just to. Yeah, certainly. There's a big challenge with the toxins in the air and the food and the water. And that's where we are in the evolutionary history of beings on this planet. And I don't think we need to beat ourselves up about it. I think we need to start doing things, and we have done things. We need to do more. And the reality of climate change and all of this. But, do you think like 200 years ago, human beings could realize, well, if we don't start doing this stuff now, we're going to experience. No, you don't realize it until you realize it. And even then, change is difficult. And there's all kinds of competing forces and needs. And so we are where we are. And, but again, taking care of yourselves, getting the best food you can eat, the cleanest food you can possibly eat. I have air purifiers in my home running all day on all floors, right? And I eat the best organic, clean food I can eat. And we have a water purifier. We drink the best water we can. So you do the common sense things. But yeah, it's challenging. And but But you know, we're living in the challenge. We were born at this time for a reason. Right? We're all here for a reason. And we're here to serve in whatever ways. How do you deal with physical pain and aches while meditating, preventing you from samadhi? Okay. Well, I wouldn't worry so much about being prevented from samadhi because we don't want to get like the idea of samadhi is something we're chasing. That's counterproductive. We're just being with our experience as it is. And the depth will arise naturally, right? Whatever we want to call the deeper states of flow, the deeper states of beingness, they'll arise naturally. And we don't want to hang on to them when they do arise. You know, one of my early meditation teachers, a different teacher, gave me a mantra. It was a very powerful mantra. It was no big deal. Whatever arises in your life, whether it seems blissful or you think the Buddha is appearing to you or Jesus is appearing to you or you think you're beset by the devil or you're in pain or whatever it is, no big deal, right? So it's just willingness to feel. And again, I'm not suggesting anybody that we throw ourselves over the edge in pain, but just gently try to be willing to feel the pain. You know, when we experience physical pain, we tense around it and we start going pain, 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 and we think it's going to last forever. And so we tighten up and we make it worse. But if we bring our awareness to pain somewhere in the body, let's say it's knee pain or muscle pain or back pain, whatever it might be, and we gently bring our awareness to that pain, we'll see it's a whole lot of different sensations. And they're moving, and it's mostly space. And we can have that inquire. I suggest the work of Shinzen Young, if people are aware of, a wonderful meditation teacher. And he has written a lot of books about working with physical pain. But we can bring our awareness to pain and we can inquire, like, is it solid? What does it weigh? If it had a shape, what shape would it be? If it had a color, what color would it be? Is it still? Is it moving? Has it changed? And by bringing our awareness, we'll often find pain will dissipate. At the very least, it'll become much more tolerable. People have learned to deal with excruciating pain without medication through mindfulness awareness practices. There's neurofeedback brainwave sound therapy things that they have been used to instead of anesthesia for surgery. It's amazing what our minds can do. Absolutely amazing. So again, working with pain, I would encourage us to very gently bring your awareness to it and just be willing to feel in the moment. You know, our mind extrapolates into, oh, this is going to last forever, and it becomes very threatening. But in the moment, right here in this microsecond moment, things are pretty workable for the most part. We have lots of recorded guided meditations. And actually, if you would get interested, we're gonna have another special offer at the end of the year on Heart Mind membership. Some of you are members already, I'm sure. But in there, we have lots of guided meditations available. And but right on the Heart Mind website, in the upper tab, you'll see resources. And there's some free resources where I guide 3 types of simple breath regulation exercises: straw breathing, box breathing, and 4-7-8 breathing. And I do a contemplative exercise called Safe, Resourced, and Connected. Those are available for free on the website. And I think because, you know, I really appreciate everybody's patience again, but we'll send out a recording. We can send out the recording of this, but we can also send out a recording of one of the past 90-minute workshops I did like this, and so you'll have those as resources. But again, on our website, you'll find things. And Heart Mind membership is incredibly inexpensive, and you get access to all of our summits and all of our courses and all kinds of guided meditations. It's an amazing archive of transformational material, including guided meditation practices. Okay, let's see. What was the micro practice? Let me deliver that while everybody's still here. Okay. This is a micro practice that we can use to bring more beingness into our life moment to moment or anytime we need it. So it's called Stop, Feel, Breathe, and Be. Stop, feel, breathe, and be. Okay? So everybody close your eyes for a minute, if you would. I invite you to close your eyes. And just start thinking about something. Let yourself get all stirred up about something. Maybe thinking about some challenge you have going in your life, or a relational conflict, or some job challenges, and just kind of let yourself get worked up. You think about all the stuff you got to do later, or maybe you're got to do some Christmas shopping or preparing for family events or whatever it be. Let yourself get all stirred up. And then you just listen and follow along as I guide this. But let your mind get all stirred up, okay? Stop. Feel. Feel whatever you're feeling. Breathe. Release the breath. Let the breath flow. And be. Just drop into a moment of being. A moment of being. So we'll practice this a couple times. So stop is like a pattern interrupt. And so you can say this to yourself anytime, anywhere. You can just say stop. And then feel. Feel is just let yourself feel whatever you're feeling, physically, emotionally, even if it's frustration or anger or tension or stress, just feel it. Open to feeling, because it's avoidance that creates the loops and the stuckness and the problems. So let yourself feel, and then don't hold your breath. Remember to breathe. So breathe, release the breath in a nice belly breathing, and then be. Just relax into a moment of being, pure being. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to prove, nothing to evaluate, nothing to compare, just being. And you can do this pretty quickly. It can literally be stop, feel, breathe, and be. Okay, so I'm going to guide it one more time. So again, close your eyes. Let yourself get all stirred up, thinking about stuff you're worried about, stuff you might be anxious about, things you got to do later today or this week or next week, or problems going on in your life, relationship challenges, financial issues. Get it all stirred up. Okay, you ready? Stop. Feel. Breathe and be. So I encourage you to practice that on your own. I encourage you to just keep practicing that on your own, and it'll become a go-to. You'll find yourself using it more and more. And also, anytime we just come back to a moment of breathing, like let's everyone take a big, deep breath right now, as deeply as you can, in, and then just release it. Let's take one more on the out. Take it in through the nose on the out breath. You could breathe out through pursed lips. You feel that? It's just like a complete nervous system reset. Just one breath. Any breath we take with awareness is a really good moment of our life. And again, on the HeartMind website, heartmind.co, heartmind.co, at the top you'll see resources. And there you can learn straw breathing, 478 breathing, and box breathing. These are very simple, benevolent breath regulation tools. And then the safe, resourced, and connected contemplation. Again, somebody brought up working with fear and anxiety. This is a great way to move yourself back into flow and safety. It's called safe, resourced, and connected. Okay, we're coming towards the end of our time here, so let me just see if there's any last questions. Again, there's the link there, heartmind.co, resilience sources. Okay, Eric put that in there. And then also for the retreat, Eric put that in there earlier. I'm sure he'll put it again. It was heartmind.co /NSM retreat. There you go. Heartmind.co /NSM retreat. Okay. Is Qigong practice a useful way? Yes, absolutely. Qigong practice is wonderful. We actually have a course coming up in January, a live course, a 7-week live course with Roger Janka, who's an amazing Qigong teacher. My wife is a Qigong teacher. Yeah, just looking at any last questions here. Do you offer recorded guide? Yes, yes. I mentioned that before. We have lots of those you can access. Yeah. Yeah, we'll send the recordings out as well. We'll send a recording that has less problems in it. And I really appreciate everybody's patience today. Again, the power never has come back on here. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, things happen, and here we are. And it's so wonderful. I'm going to scroll through the screens a little bit again so people could have their cameras on and just wave to each other, connect with each other. We're part of a global community here on World Meditation Day. World Meditation Day is actually a UN designated uh, event and celebrating meditation throughout the world. So I'm sure there are millions of people around the world meditating today, and we're part of that. And absolutely wonderful. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all so much for being here. Let me turn my camera back on for a minute, and hopefully that doesn't kick me offline, but okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. It was absolutely wonderful to be with everyone today. There were almost 900 of us at one point, and there's still over 500 of us here. So I get thank you so much. So great to see everyone. I recognize a lot of faces from some of our regular members and so forth. Anyway, I encourage you all to check out the retreat coming up on the 28th. I guess that's like a week from today. Yeah, a week from today. And then keep an eye on your email because we're going to have some end of year offers, both incredibly discounted offers around membership, but also our 60-day Waking Up Now, which is an incredibly deep dive into neurosomatic mindfulness, which has absolutely transformed people's lives and practices. So lots of opportunities, and we're trying to offer as many opportunities as we can for folks, and we offer it at all different price ranges and so forth. So we got to pay the bills, but again, we're trying to get as much out in the world. Over 2.5 million people around the world have done our summits now, and about 95% do that for free because only about 5% buy the lifetime access package. Fortunately, that's enough to keep us going. We'd love it if more would purchase them, but that's enough to keep us going. Really also encourage everyone to consider Heart Mind membership if you haven't already, because it's pennies a day to have access to several thousand hours of transformational teaching from the world's leading authorities in neuroscience and positive psychology and meditation, trauma healing. I just interviewed Bessel van der Kolk day before yesterday, again, for one of our upcoming summits. I guess I should mention that. We have our Nervous System Reboot Summit coming up in January, our Nervous System Reboot Summit, where we're going to have, I don't know, around somewhere between 40 and 50 amazing experts about the nervous system and all the practices we can use to do a complete nervous system reboot or reset going into 2026. So how to set yourself up for thriving in 2026, come to the Nervous System Reboot Summit, which starts in mid-January. But you'll all get emails because you're on the list, so you'll see emails about it. And encourage you to sign up for that. And it's just so great to see everybody here today. And we're going to sign off in just a moment, but really wonderful to see everybody. Thank you so much for being here. It's just so joyful. I'm just sitting here in ecstasy. It was a little bit of a challenge dealing with no power today, and with they kept knocking me on and off the Zoom, but I'm basically just in a state of bliss and ecstasy just from doing the practice, but more than anything, just being in this energetic flow with all of you, and just connecting with all of you from around the world, all over the U.S. and Canada, as well as all over Europe. And I think there were a few people from Asia and South America, and I don't know if we had anybody from Africa today, but sometimes we do. And we literally have Heart Mind participants from all over the world. I think we need to look at them, but we may have participants from almost every country in the world at this point, and it's really wonderful to realize we're part of this global heart-centered movement of healing and awakening, to heal ourselves, to heal each other, to bring healing to the planet. That's what we're all about at Heart Mind. We talk about our basic mission is to help ourselves and everyone else reconnect with our hearts at a much deeper level, become more deeply embodied, more earth-connected. And our goal, our big goal, is to reach 1 billion people in the next 10 years with experiences that connect people with their innate unconditional goodness, their own and others, So we change our view to we see ourselves as unconditionally good and everyone else as unconditionally good. And then skills for regulating our own nervous system and then co-regulating with others. Trauma-informed, neuroscience-based, mindfulness-based skills for self-regulation and co-regulation. We feel if we can reach 1 billion people with those three things, the experience of basic goodness, skills for self-regulation, and skills for co-regulation, that can begin to contribute to global transformation. And we know we're not the only people trying to do that, right? But so far we've reached about 2.5 million, so we're on our way. And with all of your help, we'll keep reaching more people all around the world. And we're all connected, whether we know it or not. It's just whether we choose to open to it and tune into it. We're all always connected. We're all always connected. And and connecting online like this and seeing each other, and all we got to do is remember, oh yeah, I was in the meditation on the 21st on the solstice. Oh, I remember all those people. And the minute we remember that, we're connected again. We're energetically connected with each other. So I encourage you to keep coming together. And again, I would love to see as many people as possible join us for the all-day retreat on the 28th, a week from now. And encourage you to just keep coming back and checking out all the different things we're offering. And we hope that we can meet just about everybody's needs with something that works for you, timing-wise, economically-wise, and everything else. So that's why we're here. That's the only reason we exist. We're a completely purpose-driven organization. We have a fabulous team of about 11 full-time folks and about 7 contractors around the world. And it takes a big team to put on all these events and summits and courses. And we have a fabulous team that are all purpose-driven. And we're here to serve you and your healing and your awakening. And that serves us as well. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, there's still people I notice there's continually people in the waiting room. I don't know whether people are just arriving or they're getting kicked out of Zoom and coming back on as well, as I had to quite a few times. So wishing everybody well. Take good care. I think we're going to sign off now. And wish everyone the very best for the rest of the day and for the holidays and the new year. Please take good care of yourselves. And yeah, this is a wonderful time to reconnect with ourselves, with our families, with life, with the earth. Yeah, and then we can enter the new year with a sense of freshness and fresh energy and perspective and a sense of possibility. Yeah, a sense of possibility. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Take good care. Bye bye. Bye bye, everyone. Bye bye. Take good care. Bye bye.